Panic Button. I'm Nina.
I'm Jesse. Would you rather Donald Trump's penis or eat Donald Trump's shit? Gun to your head. I've been asking this to a lot of people. What's your answer?
Neither.
Gun to your head. Gun to your head. You're going to die.
Shoot me. Shoot me.
I actually found out this is a unifying question.
It's a unifying question.
Because if you like Donald Trump or you hate...
question.
No matter if you like or hate him, you don't want to do either.
You don't say. I'm just going to start it.
So we have a person here who is a big fan, very big fan of giving children puberty blockers. Trans people will never leave kids alone. We want trans kids to be trans and give them the education and care we desperately needed when we were younger. Stop making it so difficult for us to be part of society. It is not trans.
Sorry. Do you think they need the care?
Children?
Yeah, minors.
Absolutely not. No.
I've said this before. I'll say it again. I'll give it like 16, 17. Because that's when you start to like experiment, right?
Mm-hmm.
But minors. 16 and 17 in some states does not consider to be a minor. But if you're like 15, 14, 13, 12, why are you trying to change this shit?
Usually it's some adult has influenced that person.
Which is why they say they won't leave children alone, right?
Yeah, without a doubt.
It's concerning to me because at that age, 13, 14, 15, 16, I was just coming to fruition on what my sexuality might be, you know? So why are we letting kids take hormones?
Because the 1%, the trans collective, right? I should say the trans community, the trans activist community.
I say activist, yes.
Have this, they listen to these trans people in the trans activist community saying, oh, I wish I could have transed myself when I was younger. And so because they wish they could have done it when they were younger, they think that other children feel the same way, even though they can't because they haven't become an adult yet to figure that out.
Do you wish...
So they push it.
Do you wish you knew you were gay sooner?
No.
I don't wish I knew I was gay sooner. And it's not because I don't like being gay. It's because it was a journey I had to go through in order to come out the other side and, like, know who I was. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I don't think it should be as easy for children to get it because it should be a journey. It shouldn't be given to you. Does that make sense?
I think you kind of need to understand
who you are, what you want.
That, yeah. But I also don't think you should be talking to children about sex or their genitalia or other people's genitalia.
And
let's leave sex out of it.
And transness boils down to your genitalia.
Yeah.
And how you feel with your genitalia. Even if you say it doesn't, it does.
Mm-hmm.
The people who say it doesn't don't understand what it means to truly want to be trans. The people who think that you don't need to feel any kind of way to transition, they don't understand what it really means to feel like you're trans. So how can you say that people should be transitioning at any given point?
Because they're predatory.
Transphobic to not want kids to transition. This is not transphobic. This is normal.
And it's always like so interesting that these people are like obsessed with age of consent, with like
That's enough.
So I wasn't even planning to post this, but this genius decided to make a whole video about Asman, and then I witnessed the biggest self-report in human history. This individual claims little children should be able to consent to life-altering hormone therapy because at the same time they cannot not consent going through puberty. I'm at a loss for words.
When I, for example, talk about consent, the same with me saying, if a trans kid cannot consent to HRT, then why can they consent to puberty? How does that work? And I don't want to allow something they could
You don't consent to something that naturally occurs. Do you consent to a fire consuming your home?
No.
Do you consent to a hurricane coming through your town? Do you consent through earthquakes tumbling through your homes in California? You don't consent to things that happen to you. I didn't consent to being gay. I found out I was gay. I learned that I was gay. I didn't find out because a fucking traumatic puberty hit me. At puberty, I realized maybe I have feelings towards the other gender, towards the same gender, sorry. I didn't sit there and say, I don't consent.
That's like saying, I don't consent to getting older.
You never do.
It's going to happen. Then there's nothing you can do to stop it.
Especially women.
You can try.
Some men want to be viewed as older because it's like respect. Women do not consent to being viewed as older, but we can't change that. I am 26. You are 40. We can't control that.
Yeah.
We couldn't control the fact that we're gay. We didn't consent to being gay.
That's why some of them are trying to identify as a younger age.
Yes, but at the same time, it doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
Because you don't consent to puberty. You
Yeah.
don't consent to being gay. These are things that you realize. You don't consent. You realize that the position you're in is that position. You realize your house caught on fire. You realize a hurricane is coming through. You realize an earthquake's gonna hit. You don't consent to the things happening. You just react.
Or you try to get kids to transition.
That's still a reaction.
I don't know.
It's not
I don't
consent.
know
It's not
how
consent.
PDF files think, but I think
Grant, if they can't consent to
touch that,
I
can you?
think this is a good window into the mind of PDF files.
Do you think you consent to your parents dying?
You consent to death?
You consent to student loans. Yeah, you consent to those. You said, yes, I'll do that. But you didn't consent to being born. And that's another thing I hear people fighting about. But, like, you are because this happened. That's not consent. That is simply life. Welcome. It's hard. I know. But you'll make it through. I promise. You're going to make it fine. Go to the doctor. Don't do hormone therapy. You'll be fine.
These are the same people that are trying to fool men into sleeping with them. It's not consent because the guy doesn't know that it's a girl.
You
And they're-
consented when you thought I was a woman, but then you saw my penis and you stopped consenting. How bigoted of you.
Yeah.
HRT, if they can't decide which puberty they want to go through, how do you justify forcing them through puberty?
These retards are going to get gay marriage repealed. Oh, and this is a person tweeting about me. Trans kids exist. I was one. I was not groomed into this. People like Asmongold get millions of views spreading hatred and denying our existence, while stories of trans adults and children are being suppressed and invalidated. Oh, you just don't know who you are. Oh, you fell for big pharma, or you're just mentally ill. I don't know about this person's history. I can't draw any conclusions on it. You are doing more damage to the entire trans community than you can even know.
But I am so evil for saying that, hey, if a child cannot consent to HRT, then they can't consent to puberty.
And
You don't have the option of going through puberty. Hormones are an option. You can say yes or no.
Yep.
Your body will not hear yes or no for puberty, ever. It can go through puberty blockers, which scientifically stop you from going to puberty, but it's still not consent. Should we touch on the fact that children don't know what they're signing up for?
consent is?
What a long-term effect is, even? Because they've only been along for a short term. Mm-hmm. How are they going to know what long-term means?
You see, children cannot consent to puberty, so you don't let them go through the puberty they want to go through. But do they know what puberty is, even? Can they consent to understanding what puberty is? I think this guy's an absolute retard.
At the very least. Would you my tiny butthole? It's big now, but it's tiny before.
It's so gaping.
I identify as tiny butthole.
I tried to talk to the children, but they would not consent because of puberty. Yeah. We need to keep these people completely away from children because these are the type of people that GROOM, children, with this nonsensical stuff because they want to vicariously live through these children that they call trans because they couldn't be trans when they were children.
Not even vicariously. I think some of them want to manipulate them and just make them experience what they experienced in order to feel like they're not alone.
Or to live vicariously through them.
Or just to be less lonely. So they're like, see, You're in my group too. See, you transitioned. See, so we're the same. So you can't get mad at me because I did what you did.
You're entrapping a child into being something that they don't even understand yet.
And can't begin to fathom because they have the mind of a child. And they can't remember 5 years ago, let alone 10 years ago.
They can't even remember what they had for breakfast the day before, and you think that they can consent to puberty when they don't even understand the word or the function?
No one ever consented to puberty. Just like I said, no one consents to natural disasters. No one consents to their life being uprooted. It's just part of life. And if you can't process that information, you are mentally ill.
Yeah, I think we just need to call these people for what they are, bad people,
Mentally ill people.
who are going to eradicate the rights of gays.
By accident. They're not even trying to. I swear they're not even trying to. They really think they're making us look good.
They're doing good stuff.
They really think that. They
Yeah.
don't think that they're fucking with you and me. They think that they're helping you and me. The regular people, what do they say? The normal gays? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they think they're helping us because they're vocalizing things that we can't vocalize. But let me vocalize to you. Stop it. Get help.
Children and consenting, that's a no-go.
It never happens.
No, that's why they have parents or guardians.
I will give that at 16, 17 years old, people can start thinking for themselves. That doesn't mean that minors should be able to consent. I just simply think that once you're like 16, 17, you're finally in that group. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. This is crazy.
It's not just the trans community. There's AOE damage that's happening to the gay community as a macro community because you've decided to attach yourself like a parasite to the LGB community and then turn it into effectively a weapon for you to push this on children. This is a literally 80-20, 90-10 issue.
Yep.
Who cares about the age of consent? This is disgusting.
If you don't care about the age of consent, well, then you've just called yourself a PDF file without having to say it.
Or a PDF file supporter.
Yeah.
Minimum. You support them.
And he made a really good point when he said they're parasites. They actually are.
They're leeches.
Yeah. And what they try to do is change the history of the LGB in order to make it fit their parasitic narrative.
They leech on. They're like, I was there from the beginning.
Actually, we started this whole thing.
Not you, me.
Right.
It was me.
And you wouldn't be here without us because we've been around here for centuries. No, they were called cross-dressers because centuries before, there was no HRT or estrogen for them to take. It was just cross-dressing.
You mean they couldn't consent to puberty and went through it anyways?
Yes, just like everybody else in this world, aside from however many children have been forced into transition that they can't even possibly understand. But parasite is the best word to describe
The trans cause?
the T's,
The trans cause, honestly.
the activists, the queers.
We don't feel this way about people who aren't activists.
No, it's just the ones talking like this. Because that actually enforces the idea that the Republicans have had about us all along.
Would you say?
Which is they're going to come after your children and they're going to mess with them.
Would you say
Case in point, they are.
Sorry. Would you say we were gay activists?
No, absolutely not.
We are simply gay people who want to exist without negativity being spewed as part of us.
Negativity.
Being spewed as part of what we are.
Man, you've been hitting me and grabbing me a lot in this video. What the fuck?
I just want to, pull you in.
Okay. You have anything else to say?
We're not activists, right?
I am not an activist. That shit.
Are we gay activists?
No, I don't want anything to do with their activism and all that stuff.
Are we anti-trans activists?
Anti-trans. No, I'm not in the street marching. I'm not writing articles.
But if you give us $1,000 in super chats, Nina's going to go to this next Pride.
And I will cry.
But we're already $50 there. That's $950 away from taking you to Pride.
Yeah.
So send your super thanks.
Like and subscribe.
Nina doesn't want you to super thanks this one.
No, don't super thanks. Yeah.
I keep hitting her. She hates it. Bye.
Bye.